What do an opera singer, a dominatrix, and an executive coach have in common? Me. My name is Kacey Cardin. My job title is Executive and Leadership Coach. Professional opera singer, dominatrix, and coach have all been job titles that I have held, but none of that is who I am. I am joy, power, and divinity. That last sentence is the one that's the most authentic, and it's also the one that's the most challenging to be every day. Joy, power, and divinity make up what I call my soul-level contract, or my leadership DNA, which is one of the fundamental components of energetic intelligence. But I don't want to talk about me or energetic intelligence just yet. Let's talk about Michael. Michael reached out to me a few years ago, shortly before his 50th birthday. He said, as I approach 50, even though I've achieved what most people would consider significant success, abundant wealth, and a pretty darn good life, I don't feel like I'm actually fully expressed. I want to have it all. So he hired me as a coach, not a dominatrix, just to be clear, because he wanted to find more joy in his life without leaving his very demanding leadership role. Michael was an executive at a risk management company. Talk about a place where you might not necessarily bring your heart to work with you. Within a month of working together, he showed up with a smile on his face and said, "My girlfriend said she still doesn't understand what coaching is, but to please keep doing it." Apparently, Michael had been more loving, affectionate, and more available over the past month than in the previous 10 years of their relationship. 2 months later, he showed up after giving a presentation to 1,200 of his employees. One of them had come up to him afterwards and said, "I've worked here for 20 years, and your talk today was the first time I felt like anyone cared that I was here." Energetic intelligence is where the woo-woo meets the to-do. And Michael was learning the benefits not only for himself, but for everyone impacted by his leadership. We all have a soul-level contract. You might also call it your purpose. Many of us spend a lifetime searching for our purpose. Some of us think we found it in whatever role we play in the world. CEO, mother, manager, husband, singer. Some of us hope to find it in another person. How many of us have mistaken a relationship for our purpose? Some of us fear we failed at living up to it, so we decide the idea of having it all is a myth. A few of us search far and wide for our purpose somewhere out there, or at least what we think will provide it. Too often, we relate to ourselves as a role we play versus the essence of who we are. It's hard to fulfill our purpose if we don't know who we are, and it's nearly impossible to be a leader without purpose. About 12 years ago, I realized that the more successful I was in my performance career, the lonelier I felt. But when I thought about leaving the stage, I felt terrified. My identity was completely wrapped up in being an opera singer. I thought that was the source of my joy, power, and divinity. But really, it was all about my ego, the applause. It was all about me, 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 me. It was all about approval. What's going on in your life right now that's all about approval? Ego, winning, proving something, including proving that you have nothing to prove. Chances are it's something that initially brought you a sense of belonging, accomplishment, or purpose. But what if it doesn't bring you those things anymore? When I questioned my career as a singer, I felt disoriented and powerless. I tried to get my power back by training to be a dominatrix. I tried to find joy through food, relationships, sex. And I thought maybe I'd become a yoga teacher. That's divine, right? But nothing felt quite right. My energy said loud and clear, that's not it for you. I felt this inner tension around a lot of decisions during that time, but I didn't always listen. If IQ is your intellectual intelligence and EQ is your emotional intelligence, you can think of NQ as your energetic intelligence. You, like I did, can use your IQ to rationalize and talk yourself in or out of pretty much anything. We can use our EQ to feel better or express how we feel. IQ requires logic and humanity. EQ calls forth your heart and divinity. NQ is the intersection of humanity and divinity. It's all-encompassing, and it was in place before you even got here. Everything is energy. Me, you, that chair, money, the words I'm saying that you're hearing, all energy. We are all part of the same interconnected energy. It's easy to think of ourselves as the fixed physical being we see when we look in the mirror. But as Jungian psychology reminds us, the self is not a definable, permanent thing. It's an emerging energy, always in flow. It's actually more accurate to think of ourselves, our thoughts, and our experiences more as energy than substance. If it's true that energy can neither be created nor destroyed, but can only change form, that means that anything we think, feel, or experience can also be transformed. I work in transformational leadership, which means I help develop and enhance transformational communities and work cultures. Energetic intelligence is what I consider the most important component of that work. Why is this so important for you? You already have and are energetic intelligence. You can raise or lower your NQ with some simple distinctions and practices. Higher NQ means a deeper connection with your power, a more authentic expression of that power, and a much more intimate connection with yourself and the rest of your world. It's the key to living your purpose. But how? Let's start by noticing what kind of energy we're plugged into and transmitting. Take a moment right now to pause and check in on your own energy. I like to actually place my hands on certain energy centers in my body. There's an ever-growing body of research showing that the human electromagnetic field is a measurable system. I recently spoke with a neuroscientist who is conducting experiments to measure the magnetic pull of the chakras. While I don't have definitive findings from his research yet, what is clear is that our energy has an impact on the world around us. What I notice about my energy right now is that it's a little nervous. I may be made of energy, but nervous energy is not who I am any more than the job titles at the beginning of this talk. I am joy, power, and divinity. A simple moment of awareness can completely shift the energy you're transmitting. It's all about intention. The first principle of NQ is to ground yourself in your intention. Just like a grounded electrical outlet safely conducts high levels of energy, when you're a leader, you need to be grounded in who you're being, not just what you're doing. Without that grounding, you risk burnout, overwhelm, energy leaks, or even a total power outage. What's the difference between intention and intention? Intention comes from the Latin intentio, meaning to stretch or strain. I think of intention as our inner tension, something we're trying to say, enforce, or offer, but that might not have the impact we intend. It's often a should of some sort. Think about it. Typically, whatever comes out of your mouth after "my intention was" or "what I intended was" is because it usually didn't go that way. Your energy, your being wasn't aligned with your speaking or your doing. We all know that person who walks into a room with big energy, but not a lot of energetic intelligence. They're either not aware of the impact they're making, or the impact they're making is not what they would like it to be. They're living in that inner tension. You can be high in emotional intelligence and still not be high in energetic intelligence. You can be a smart leader, but not an authentic one. You can be a caring leader, but not a vulnerable one. You can speak all of the right words, but your energy will reveal anything that isn't your truth. High NQ requires a rigorous degree of vulnerability, courage, and authenticity. Your intention stems from the energetic contribution you make. My intention with this talk is simply to share information. My inner tension is that I want you to like that information and therefore to like me. If I focus more on being liked than about sharing the information, your experience will be more about me than about the value of what I'm sharing. Intention is about being what you want more of in the world, and sometimes being what's missing. Intention is the phenomenon that occurs when your thinking, speaking, and acting is in alignment with your leadership DNA or soul-level contract. How can you tell the difference? Your intention is often something that's already within you, something to listen to surrender to. It's who you are and how you show up when there's nothing to fix, nothing to prove, nothing to defend or protect. To lead from intention often means being in that type of energy, even when there is something to prove, something to fix or protect. It's accessed through love, not fear. Fear builds walls. Love honors boundaries. Like Michael learned when his employee came to him after that presentation, leading from fear can look like intimidation or micromanaging. Leading from love looks like transparent communication, clear expectations. There's a world of difference there, and that's the difference I want to see in our world. Making that difference starts with your energetic intelligence. Joy, power, and divinity are my access points. The words to describe the ways of being that had my energy say, yes, that's who you are. So how do you know what the foundational being of your energetic intelligence is? Ask yourself. Take a moment right now and ask, who am I? And actually listen until you hear words that both ground you and awaken you to the contribution you are. I can already see some of you trying to IQ your way to an NQ answer. For me, the answer was never brain-based, and it wasn't a job title. It wasn't necessarily about what felt good either. Being a dominatrix felt great sometimes. As you practice this exercise in self-awareness and divine connection, remember that your feelings are not the only source of how you feel. How you feel is a combination of your thoughts, words, actions, and energy. When any of those are not in alignment, your NQ lets you know loud and clear. Intention is all about us and what people think about us. If we act and contribute to the world from intention, though, it's about all of us. There's a purity, an ease that comes from alignment with energetic intelligence, ours and the universe. This is full expression. That is access to having it all. Lastly, you know that energetic intelligence is the intersection of your humanity and your divinity. But what's in between those? For the last 8 years, I've analyzed client data, paying attention to what areas of their lives they were most attuned to when they were at their most productive, successful, and fulfilled. Productive and fulfilled clients are productive and fulfilled leaders, employees, parents, partners, you name it. Based on my client data, I've found that there are 7 areas of focus that, when aligned energetically, make for the most successful and joyful clients. They, interestingly, intersect with chakra theory, which I've studied since 1999. That's its own TED Talk. I do call this tool the 7 wheels of leadership as a nod to chakra theory, and because I think of our energetic system much like water wheels that keep our energy moving efficiently. If one wheel gets stuck or stopped, eventually they all do. It's the same with people. If one of us gets stuck, eventually we all do. Our internal system is a microcosm of that. On a positive note, that means that if we're all fully charged and operating at our highest possible capacity of NQ, all of civilization could be operating at its highest possible capacity. Can you imagine if you were to live your life from your highest possible level of well-being, celebration, innovation, connection? What if your whole family did? Your company, your community? What about the entire human race? We're going to talk through the 7 wheels of leadership from the ground up, and I'm going to place my hands on the point in my physical body that corresponds to the energetic center of each wheel. When we put our attention on any of these 7 focal points, our energy flows to the part of our lives that's associated with each of them. I invite you to join me in moving your hands to each of the 7 and notice if any of them seem out of alignment, needing more or less of your energy and attention. Great leaders must notice their energy's charges and power leaks. The 7 wheels gives you the framework. We start with our roots, our humanity and self-acceptance. Then creation and celebration, aligned action, heart, authentic communication, insight, and our mission and vision, or divinity. I invite you, challenge you, to do a 7 wheels check-in daily for the next month and see what shifts. If you do this check-in before any big meeting, a hot date, coming home to your partner or kids, if you check in with each of these and allow your energetic intelligence to go where it's needed, this simple tool will give you what's needed to transform your life, your leadership, and your impact into exactly what you want it to be. I didn't find my power in a job, and Michael didn't find fulfillment in his bank account. In both cases, as with so many of the people I work with, the answer to who am I and what's my purpose was found by plugging into love and energetic intelligence as the source. Our purpose isn't out there to find or achieve. Purpose isn't about what we do, it's about who we already are. Years of listening to my NQ have helped me hone my purpose into a single sentence, creating a world in which all leaders are joyfully, fully, divinely expressed. That is the North Star for everything I do. Can you imagine if every leader, every company was in touch with the power of their energetic intelligence? If every person got to show up to work every day aligned with a loving interconnectedness with the world? If we all lived from energetic intelligence, we would all be fully expressed. And that truly is what it means to have it all. Thank you.